wild. And that kind of behavior and treatment tells me that you actually hate me. You hate me. You hate me. You have to. Like, there's no other way.
I will do everything I can and what I can control to change the direction if needed. I will keep learning and not give up. I can make waves when determined. I will be consistent and determined to be healthy. I'm in control. No one can determine when or how I should be happy. I will change my exposure and my mindset when needed. I will patiently wait for the right person. I am not asking for too much. I deserve a loving, healthy, willing relationship. I will not lose who I am for the wrong fit. A love that comes will want everything that I want. They will not ask me to change nor choose between them and my happiness. I will not chase anyone who runs from me. I am ready to love and be loved. I am grateful for my family and love them. I am not responsible for any individual or as a whole. I am there for my family and am of service to them. I am not in debt to them emotionally and cannot change them. I am safe and have everything that I need. I have enough to live responsibly, with pleasure, and to share with others. I am a good steward of my assets and will teach others. I am debt-free and not a prisoner of money. Consistency, boundaries, trust, community, goals, momentum, acceptance, praise, allowance, resiliency, rest, life, joy, pleasure, hope. Nothing is stopping me from having everything.
Like, this is probably one of the hardest lessons I'm having to learn. And I don't know why it's so hard. I don't know why it's so hard. Because it's not. It's very simple. It's very fucking simple. When someone continues consistently to, right? Like, that's not love. That's not love at all. At all. And when you like are like witnessing consistent patterns and cycles, and you could almost write what the next 5 steps they're going to make is, like, if you can do that, then that reveals the cyclical behavior that you yourself have, right? Because if you know what the pattern is, you've seen it work over and over and over again, you also have a pattern. I'm not as worked up as I could be because unfortunately I've been here over and over and over and over again. I'm almost like I'm not, and I said this before, like I'm not even like shocked at the behavior because it's been the same from jump. What infuriates me is my own issues with letting this person go. And I've been telling this narrative of like, they won't let me go, they won't leave me alone, they won't X, Y, and Z. But it's really me not letting go. And I recognize that. I have always recognized that. I did not know it was going to have to be me to let someone go who's already let me go multiple times. Like, why do, like, that doesn't make sense to me. That science, that math does not make sense to me. Like, why do I have to be the one to let go of someone who has already let me go? It doesn't feel like I'm chasing this person who doesn't want me. It's like there's like like that doesn't even make sense. Like, why pursue a person that you know you don't want, that you know you don't love? That is like, what is that? What is that? It's crazy. But it's not the craziest part. The craziest part is seeing it, acknowledging it, realizing it, knowing it, and allowing it to happen. Like, isn't that the definition of insanity, but leave it up to the internet. The internet will tell you that the very definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and over again in the same way, expecting a change. That feels like this. That feels like this. And like, I don't know how many more times I have to jump the fuck off of this ride. I don't want to be on it. I never wanted to be on it. I've tried to run away from it, and then I get sucked back in because of some words, not actions. Not at all actions. Not at all. Not one action. Words. Like, am I that easy? Am I that simple to keep falling into a trap of words that I know hold no water? What was I even hoping for? Seriously, what was I hoping for? None of the puzzle pieces matched at all. It's like puzzle pieces from different fucking pictures. What was I hoping for? I say all this to say that I'm embarrassed for myself. Like, again, I am frustrated with myself for, like, what am I holding on to? What am I holding on to? I've wasted so much energy and time and space and thoughts and emotion and life. I've wasted life holding on to something that is dead. It was a time, and it's not anymore, and it never will be that again. Never will be that again. I'm rerouting my focus. Not in a way that's like, okay, I don't want to focus on relationships at all. I want a fucking relationship. I want a wife. I want a wife. I do. But I am not at all holding any more space for this particular person that said that she wanted to be that at one point. I need all the space I can get for said new wife in progress, in transition. She is on her way to me. I have already written it out in detail, who she is, what she's like, and what and how, like, I've already written it out. She's on her fucking way, and I can't wait. That's where my focus is preparing myself for her. I'm done. Entirely too much time. This is the biggest lesson, one of the biggest lessons as an adult. Don't ask me why it took me so long and like why I had to fall and fuck up my knees over and over and over and over this lesson, especially when it usually takes me one time with everyone else and everything else. Don't ask me why. Don't ask me why I was so hung up. Don't ask me why. But also don't judge me, because celebrities have the same motherfucking problem. At the end of the day, we are all people who fucking play games, who tell lies, who don't change, who don't show any initiative, who aren't really about what they fucking say. At the end of the day, we are just meat sacks who don't know what we're doing, and some more than others. Right? Because that's it. That's all that, like, I don't have anything else. I've tried. I've tried. Like, I just deserve better. I really do. And I'm not like popping my own collar. I deserve better. I deserve a conversation. I deserve to be loved for real. For real. For real. For real, unapologetically. Tattoos don't mean shit. They really don't, apparently. I deserve so much more. And I'm not even saying, like, not saying it in a way that, like, the world owes something to me, like, nobody owes me anything. That's not what I'm saying. I deserve to have a real love. Should not be this hard. It never should have been this hard. I was so fucking so caught up at each time that I had no idea what even a red flag was. No idea. I tried to build a life out of red flags. I had no idea. How hard is it to say it when you've changed your mind? What's the definition of gaslighting? Because it feels like that. How hard is it to say so when you have changed your mind? Despite how fucking stupid you look and sound, when you have changed your mind, you say it. Instead of just letting the person go crazy, thinking that they're crazy, like like guessing in their head about like what has changed and why, in their head about like, so what? You were just not gonna, like, when were you gonna tell me? When were you gonna tell me? Or were you just gonna let me like be in my head until I just fucking appeared? That's wild. And that kind of behavior and treatment tells me that you actually hate me. You hate me. You hate me. You have to. Like, there's no other way. You hate me. And I'm trying my very best to not let my consistent, relentless, unwavering, unnecessary compassion for this one person not to ruin it for everybody else. The way that I let my trust die for everybody else because of this one person. Like, I really... Okay. All right. Okay. All right. I said what I said again, and I mean it this time. I really, really do. I owe it to myself because I love myself enough to mean what I said. Now, whether you flip-flop or not, again, and figure out a way to... I meant what I said.
Oh my God. It just feels like from wherever the fuck, however the fuck far you are, you're having a meltdown and you find your way to me to like pat you on your head and like make it all better and like put my foot up your ass and then you're good. You put me on a shelf until you need me again. And I've said that it's been this way. Like, I'm tired of just being used. How could I let this happen again? I can't get over that part. What grinds my gears is that you weren't even gonna fucking tell me. When were you gonna tell me? Like, two delusional assholes getting together, like, that's just laughable. Like, I could have told you, if I didn't already, that this wasn't going to work for more reasons than location, but especially location. How do you expect to like rekindle, like, what the fuck even just happened? Like, I got bamboozled again. But it's like, it's not a bamboozle because I saw this shit coming. I smelled it from a mile away. So, like, what is it in me that won't like recognize bullshit for what it is and let it be that and walk away from it? Like, why do I have to like make a fucking mat in the middle of it and like lie down and call it comfortable? Like, it's bullshit. Oh my God, I'm like nauseous. I'm so sick to my stomach. It's like the more that I think about it, the more pissed off that I get. The disrespect here is like, you weren't even gonna tell me. Like, this would not have even been occurring had I not initiated a conversation and basically am like, what the fuck is going on with you? Because I can tell something is going on with you. I could tell from a while ago. Like, I'm mad, but I'm not that mad because I knew this was going to happen as soon as it happened. Like, as soon as I could feel the change in the conversation, I knew exactly what had happened because it's happened before. I recognize it. I recognize the shit. I recognize the bullshit. As soon as it happened, I knew what it was. And that wasn't today. Today was just the confrontation. the confronting of, hey, hello, okay, what's up? What's going on? And I had to be the one to initiate, hey, you've changed again. Like, what's your problem? For you to be like, oh yeah, this is what I've decided. Fuck you. Fuck right on off. God. And you like present as this person that's like not fucked up, and everybody loves you, and everybody thinks you're sweet, and everybody wants what's best for you. And it's like, fuck right on off. Forever. And that goes for me too, because what the fuck was I expecting? Seriously, E, what were you expecting? If not more of the same shit. Get a grip. Get a grip and get it together. Seriously. Like, we're all done here. I'm done. Everybody else is done, which is why you didn't even fucking tell anybody. And when you tried to, even saying the words felt like a joke. It's a joke. You couldn't even get it out good enough before, like, attention was turned, before, like, okay, we've heard this song and dance over and over and over and over and over again. And when are you going to learn that the stove is hot, bitch? God, like, okay. Now it's just like, now, like, okay. But my bad is all that I get. And yet again, another promise, another oath to back the fuck off and out of my life, like I've asked over and over and over again. Like, I mean, I can't even trust that. So, but what I can trust is what I can do about it. That's what I can fucking trust. So, this time it's been done, and it will not ever be undone. Ever be undone. Ever be undone. What the fuck? My expectation was not that the location part of it was going to be reversed. I knew it wasn't going to be reversed, and I knew it wasn't going to be, I wasn't fucking moving there. What makes you think that I wanted to move there? I don't. You made a decision for you, not for me, not for us. You made a decision for you, but you want your fucking cake and you want to eat it too, and it's just, what? There was not ever going to be a compromise for the two of us. Not ever. Not ever. You wanted your cake and you wanted to eat it too. Where the fuck was I going to fit in your life? Where have I ever fit in your life? Nowhere. You were never going to do anything for me. You didn't fucking move here and be with me to be with me. You were already here for your own reasons. You didn't move across the country for me. And so you expected me to do that for you after what you've done? After how you've treated me this entire time? I'm the one expected to give more again for you, for this relationship? Fuck right on off. Respectfully. Like, come on. It wasn't even about the location. It was toying with the idea of a long distance, like, let's figure out if this could work and get to know each other again, which lasted all of a weekend until you got bored with me like you usually do and went and found, I don't fucking know, a random person to like hang out with. Come on, I can smell bullshit a mile away. I'm not dumb. You know this by now. I have a sixth sense for your bullshit. I just choose to keep shoveling it for whatever reason. For free. You get what you get out of me, and then you piss off. And I'm left with nothing. Support my ass. You don't support me. You don't love me. You don't like me. You don't care about me. Please. Everything, like, I feel stupid for, like, trying to unpack my part in this fucked up situation. And yeah, I have my parts, but mostly this is not me. This is not a me thing. I'm not owning it. This is not a me thing. This is a you thing. Clearly.
Ugh, girl, just wow. Go find somebody else to pick on. Please, I'm begging you, go find someone else to ruin, like, go away. I am called to my heart book. I need my heart book, my book of feelings, to just help me process and find the words, literally, and just to help me, like, let go. I want nothing more than to let go. I've been thinking mostly about, like, my reaction and response, and how I want to go about, I don't know. I've been thinking a lot about my reaction response, and I did a lot of venting and, like I said, again, yelling and screaming and, like, expressing how frustrated I am. And I don't know if all of that needs to be broadcast. Because the truth of the matter is, I find myself continuously being hurt because I never, like, stopped loving this person, and they have, like, an unfair amount of, like, space in my world, and I just, like, I don't want that anymore. So I really have to figure out how to let go. And so, anyway, I don't know what I'm saying at this point, other than, like, I'm sad, I'm disappointed, I'm hurt. Not a lot, because, like, I've been down this road before, and all of the emotions have been felt 10, 20 times over before. It's been done before. I've yelled and screamed about something that they've done or said or didn't do or didn't say last year, and in 2023, and in 2022, and in 2021 when we were together, and in 2020. It's been a while now that I have yelled and screamed and cried and, like, cursed at the wind and tried to figure out the meaning of life and, like, what everything means, because this relationship was just not, you know. I need my heart book because I'm just called to it. Oh, look at that. In the introduction, heart is a sea, language is a shore. Whatever sea includes will hit the shore. And didn't it? I used all the language. That was by Rumi. Places we go when we're hurting. Anguish, hopelessness, despair, sadness, grief. I don't know if I'm feeling any of those. Let's see. Places we go when we feel wronged. Anger, contempt, disgust, dehumanization, hate, self-righteousness. That seems a little bit closer to, like, what I'm feeling versus places we go when we're hurting. But we'll start there. That's number 6. And the other is number 12. But these are just, like, describing words, or, like, feelings. So let's see. Let's see what it says. The only thing that I didn't do about it today was pray about it. And that should have been the first thing. I'm learning. I'm learning. I'm aware, and I'm wanting to change my behavior. I still haven't done that, and I will. Places we go when we're hurting. And that's something that I have also been called to do. Side note. Okay, I'm reading out of my heart book. They're talking about anguish, and there's this work of art here that's been voted one of the most popular works twice in the National Gallery of Victoria in Melbourne, Australia. And so I'm looking at this and I'm reading it and I'm processing, and I'm reminded that that's something else that I'm feeling suddenly called to do is like, I need to like fucking let out some emotion in a different way, in a way that makes sense for me as a highly sensitive person. Normally, I would be the one to have a vision and paint it and transfer what I'm thinking, what I'm feeling onto a canvas. Normally, I'm the artist and I'm going through it by transferring that onto my canvas, right? But since I have not done that, and for whatever reason I just won't, I'm being called to doing so by way of just going and seeing other people's work, by going to true galleries and true museums and just standing in front of a magnificent piece of art and let it rip everything out of me. I don't know if that makes sense. But I just want to stand in front of something bigger than me. And that's part of like my draw towards like wanting to go see the trees so badly, is because I want something bigger than me to rip everything out of me. I want it out. I want it out. And I know that there are like certain things that are kind of like popping up on my heart map, on my creative map, that's like, do this, go here, do this, alert. And so I'm gonna just have to, like, I have to figure these things out, because still feel like I have so much like suppressed and like packed down, and it's only packed down. It's not quite cleared out. Like, I've cleared a lot of things out of my mind and my heart, but there's still a lot that's been like packed down for a while that it's going to take a little bit more to like clear. I'm not sure that I'm feeling anguish right now. Well, I shouldn't say that I'm not sure that I don't feel it. I know that I'm not feeling anguish right now. That's not to say that I have not felt maybe something similar previously when it comes to this situation and this person. The way that it affects you physically, or the way that it can affect you physically, the shock of realization of like what is happening, and the breathlessness and the grief and the powerlessness, I feel like I've perhaps come very close to anguish, hope, hopelessness, and despair. We need hope like we need air. To live without hope is to risk suffocating on hopelessness and despair, risk being crushed by the belief that there is no way out of what is holding us back, no way to get what we desperately need. But hope is not what most of us think it is. It's not a warm, fuzzy emotion that fills us with a sense of possibility. Hope is a way of thinking, a cognitive process. Yes, emotions play a role, but hope is made up of what researcher C.R. Snyder called a trilogy of goals, pathways, and agency. We experience hope when we have the ability to set realistic goals. I know where I want to go. We are able to figure out how to achieve those goals, including the ability to stay flexible and develop alternative pathways. I know how to get there. I'm persistent and I can tolerate disappointment and try new paths again and again. We have agency. We believe in ourselves. I can do this. With that definition of hope, have I ever had it for rekindling this relationship? I guess not. I guess not. We experience hope when, one, we have the ability to set realistic goals. Have I ever known without a doubt what I wanted out of this particular relationship? Like down to the detail. Have I ever known what I wanted out of that versus what I want out of other things? I can't say that I have, because I never put myself in control of that narrative. It was always like, let's just see what happens. Like, I have a general idea of what a life would be like, what a life would look like with this person. Just a general idea, not line by line items of like what I want from this, what I want from that person. Not in like a massive scale. Like, of course, on a daily, it's like fucking like answer the door for the repairman that's coming to the apartment. Maybe like if you have allergies so fucking bad, maybe you dust and clean out some stuff. Or if you are like just why don't you type stuff, like this is exactly what I need your help with, or I want you to do blah 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 blah, but not like what I want from you as a partner, like a potential life partner, what I want out of you as like a key team member of this thing that we're doing. You know what I mean? Like, no, I never like had realistic goals for her or for the relationship. Number two, we are able to figure out how to achieve those goals. So not only have the goals, but know exactly how you're going to achieve them. No. And number three, we have agency, believing in ourselves. Did I have the confidence that it could be done? Did I have the confidence that it could be done on my end? Like, I had all of the, like, I wanted it. I wanted it, and I was willing to try different things for the sake of the relationship. Like, real things. I'm not talking about moving to fucking Oakland. I'm not talking about moving to the whatever. I'm not talking about moving. Like, real life, grown up, adult things. I would have been willing to try. I at least had the willingness to put in the work to try. I don't know what the other. It's hopeless just reading what hope is about. We need hope like we need air. Hope is a function of struggle. We develop hope not during the easy or comfortable times, but through adversity and discomfort. Hope is forged when our goals, pathways, and agencies are tested and when change is actually possible. Unfortunately, there are times when hope isn't sufficient to combat entrenched systemic barriers. It doesn't matter how much hope we have if the deck is stacked or the rules apply to some but not others. That is actually a recipe for hopelessness and despair. We think we should be able to overcome an obstacle. However, the system is rigged so there is no possible positive outcome. Well, shit. It's also important to know that hope is learned. According to Snyder, children most often learn the habit of hope from their parents. To learn hopefulness, children need relationships that are characterized by boundaries, consistency, and support. Children with high levels of hopefulness have experience with adversity. They've been given the opportunity to struggle, And in doing that, they learn how to believe in themselves and their abilities. Hopelessness and despair. Everything about these words is hard. First, they are both emotions and experiences that can lead to feelings of desperation and can pose serious threats to our well being. Because when everything first started getting bad, I reached out for help, feeling totally hopeless. This was before finding out that I was dealing with infertility. Before even that, I reached out for help because I felt hopeless. And thinking about where I was in my life at that point, like there wasn't anything going on that would make a person feel totally hopeless, except I had this overwhelming feeling that I was losing myself and life and everything that I had because my relationship was starting to show its ass. First, they are both emotions and experiences that can lead to feelings of desperation and can pose serious threats to our well being. That rings a bell for me because for all the times that I've felt hopeless, I definitely was not well. Not physically, not emotionally, obviously, right? Second, it is really difficult to separate these two constructs and talk about them as different experiences, yet they are. In the despair research, the word hopeless is often used synonymously with despair. But in the research on hopelessness, we see But in the research on hopelessness, we see very few mentions of the concept of despair. Let's break it down. While hope is not an emotion, hopelessness and despair are emotions. Hopelessness arises out of a combination of negative life events and negative thought patterns, particularly self blame and the perceived inability to change our circumstances. Oh my God. This is one of my lived experiences in words in a book. Where's my pen? Because I need to circle that. This is part of like what started it all. And I need to read that again. I know you're like, E, are you writing in a book? Yes, I am writing in a book. This is a book that I plan to keep. This is my book. It's a study book. It's a map. You don't rip out books. You don't cut out of books. You don't throw books away. You don't burn books. You don't ban books. While hope is not an emotion, hopelessness and despair are emotions. Hopelessness arises out of a combination of negative life events and negative thought patterns, particularly self-blame and the perceived inability to change our circumstances. Let's look back at C.R. Snyder's work and reverse the trilogy of goals, pathways, and agency to better understand hopelessness. Hopelessness stems from not being able to set realistic goals. We don't know what we want. I didn't. I did not the entire relationship. It was all, let's just go with the flow. Let's just see what happens. Whatever you want. What do you think? I don't know what I want. And even if we can identify realistic goals, we can't figure out how to achieve them. If we attempt to achieve the goals, we give up when we fail. We can't tolerate disappointment, and we can't reset. Last, we don't believe in ourselves or our ability to achieve what we want. That's been felt. Hopelessness is serious. In more than 30 years of research, Aaron Beck and his colleagues have established that experiences of hopelessness are strongly and specifically related to the S word. There are two ways to think about despair and its relationship to hopelessness. Hopelessness can apply to a specific situation, such as feeling hopeless about finishing school, or feeling hopeless about our financial future, or to life more generally. Despair is a sense of hopelessness about a person's entire life and future. When extreme hopelessness seeps into all corners of our lives and combines with extreme sadness, we feel despair. Damn. It's a sense of hopelessness about a person's entire life and future. Yeah. Extreme hopelessness seeps into all corners of our lives and combines with extreme sadness. I once heard theologian Rob Bell define despair as the belief that tomorrow will be just like today. When we are in struggle and or experiencing pain, despair, that belief that there is no end to what we are experiencing is a desperate and claustrophobic feeling we can't figure a way out of or through the struggle and the suffering. So, like, why am I reading all this? Like, why am I saying all this? Because, this is what this book is about. This is why I love it so much, and this is why, I got it as soon as it was available, because these are literal English words that help you to describe what a person is thinking or feeling or going through. There are more words than sad, mad, you know what I mean? Like happy. And so while I haven't yet found the word to describe how I'm feeling right now, I'm reminded of how I got here. The bigger words started it all. And over time have become smaller words, smaller feelings, but they remain. So it's like different versions of hopelessness, despair. Personalization. When we experience despair and hopelessness, we often believe that we are the problem and forget to think about larger issues and contexts. Self-blame and criticism don't lead to increased hopefulness. They're quicksand. Realizing that outside factors play a role in our struggles can give us a different lens on our experience. To sadness. Maybe this is it, right? I'm not going to tell you that sadness is wonderful and we need it. I'm going to say that sadness is important and we need it. Feeling sad is a normal response to loss or defeat, or even the perception of loss or defeat. I like that. I like that as a reason to feel sad, to allow yourself to feel sad. And what I didn't mention is that on Sunday, I did end up writing my 2025 resolutions vision board. But because I had such trouble trying to determine what I wanted out of my 2025, shocker, right? But no, actually it was a shocker because I've been able to do this every single year, but it's something about this time and this year that I'm just I don't have any expectations from a time as a whole. I don't have any expectations out of anybody that I've ever previously had expectations from. I know what I want, I know what I need, I know what I want out of for myself, and that, I don't know. I say all that to say, I did my thing, but rather than declaring things, well, I guess I did declare. I'll have to show you. I haven't put it up yet, so I'll have to show you and kind of discuss it. But I just did it differently. I did it in a way where it was more self, space for myself, more forgiveness for myself. Not in a way of you know what, we're not putting any goals up because you're not going to achieve them, so it's fine, settle for this. Not at all like that. It was for instance, in the health area, rather than saying I want this, I need this, I'm going to do this, it was a very general, straightforward but general statement about how I will do my very best to adjust the things that I can change, that I do have control over. I will do my best. I will keep learning. I will keep trying. I will keep at it until I achieve the result that I desire. That's it. Do your best. That's all that I'm like committed to, is like doing my best in every decision that I make. Doing my best in that time. So in that moment, if I'm struggling or I'm caught off guard or I don't have the reaction that I could have had, I did the best that I could do in that moment. And then I can go back and analyze that and learn from it and then make better decisions moving forward. I say all that to say because on the side of my vision scroll, I continued with writing like words that I needed to keep in mind and like that I wanted to like just continue to resonate with me all throughout the year. And one of the words that's new is allowance. Allowance. Allowing myself to just be, to feel, to grow, to live, to experience, to just go through it, right? And so there's something about this that is connecting me to that, and I want to write it somewhere. I don't have my like book or anything with me in here, but I got another book that I'm seeing too that I haven't touched in a while. We'll get to that, but I'm going to say that again, okay? Feeling sad is a normal response to loss or defeat, or even the perception of loss or defeat. To be human is to know sadness. Owning our sadness is courageous and a necessary step in finding our way back to ourselves and each other. It doesn't feel very courageous, I can tell you right fucking now that I am sad, and it doesn't feel courageous. It feels sad. And I do feel like I lost. I do feel defeated. Again, it's not very strong because I have felt like I have lost this person and lost the love that we had and lost the opportunity and lost, right? And every time that we can't make it work together as a team, I feel defeated because I feel like, and it's not, I feel defeated like I did something wrong, like I'm not good enough. And that's wild boots. That is wild boots. To feel over and over with the same person in the same situation that like you're the reason like you're not good enough is crazy. Here are 4 things that I think are important to know about sadness. Number 1, sadness and depression are not the same thing. Sadness is sometimes referred to as depressed mood. However, sadness is a common but non-essential feature of clinical depression. Technically, depression is a cluster of symptoms that persist over a period of time. These symptoms can include lack of interest in pleasant activities, loss of appetite, excessive fatigue and or insomnia, and difficulty concentrating. 2, sadness and grief are not the same thing. Although sadness is one part of grief, grief involves a whole group of emotions and experiences. And 3, there are positive aspects to sadness. Joseph P. Forgas, a professor of psychology at the University of New South Wales in Sydney, Australia, writes, "Though much has been made of the many benefits of happiness, it's important to consider that sadness can be beneficial too. Sad people are less prone to judgmental errors, are more resistant to eyewitness distortions, are sometimes more motivated, and are more sensitive to social norms. They can act with more generosity too." Forgas goes on to explain, evolutionary theory suggests that we should embrace all of our emotions, as each has an important role to play under the right circumstances. So though you may seek ways to increase happiness, don't haphazardly push away your sadness. No doubt it's there for a good reason. Additionally, some scholars have speculated that one function of sadness is to cause the person to evaluate their life and consider making changes in their circumstances following a negative event, as well as to recruit help and support from others. Well, fuck. My research has taught me that acknowledging and naming our own sadness is critical in the formation of compassion and empathy. In our saddest moments, we want to be held by or feel connected to someone who has known the same ache, even if what caused it is completely different. We don't want our sadness overlooked or diminished by someone who can't tolerate what we're feeling because they're unwilling to or unable to own their own sadness. Wow. Grief. Grief does not obey your plans, your wishes. Grief will do whatever it wants to you, whenever it wants to. In that regard, grief has a lot in common with love. Elizabeth Gilbert. Grief is often thought of as a process that includes many emotions, rather than a singular emotion. For a long time, we thought about the grief process in terms of linear stages, but almost all of the recent research actually refutes the idea that grief progresses in predictable and sequenced stages. We attempt to reaffirm or reconstruct a world of meaning that has been challenged by loss. 3 foundational elements of grief emerged from the data: loss, longing, and feeling loss. While death and separation are tangible losses associated with grief, some of the participants describe losses that are more difficult to identify or describe. These include the loss of normality, the loss of what could be, and the loss of what we thought we knew or understood about something or someone. Longing. Related to loss is longing. Longing is not conscious wanting. It's an involuntary yearning for wholeness, for understanding, for meaning, for the opportunity to regain or even simply touch what we've lost. Longing is a vital and important part of grief, yet many of us feel we need to keep our longings to ourselves for fear we will be misunderstood, perceived as engaging in magical or unrealistic thinking, or lacking in fortitude or resilience. All right, I'm going to read the chapter 12 on places we go when we feel wronged, where it talks about anger and all the things that I actually feel in this moment. And so if you look across the research, you learn that anger is an emotion that we feel when something gets in the way of a desired outcome, or when we believe there's a violation of the way things should be. When we feel anger, we believe that someone or something else is to blame for an unfair or unjust situation, and that something can be done to resolve the problem. Anger is an action emotion. We want to do something when we feel it and when we're on the receiving end of it. Additionally, according to Charles Spielberger, an influential anger researcher, angry feelings can vary in intensity, from mild irritation or annoyance to fury and rage. Behind this anger might be fear, anxiety, frustration, confusion, grief, hurt, sadness, isolation, guilt, shame, jealousy, outrage at injustice, helplessness, overwhelming stress, humiliation, embarrassment, depression, loneliness, rejection. That's a lot of words behind anger. And so just looking at this chart here, I could give you a few. What I'm feeling behind my anger is rejection, frustration, grief, hurt, sadness. Even if you look at the list of 87 emotions and experiences in this book, more than 20 of them are likely to present as anger or with anger. Feeling increasingly confident that anger is a secondary or indicator emotion. Anger is a catalyst. Holding on to it will make us exhausted and sick. Internalizing anger will take away our joy in spirit. Externalizing anger will make us less effective in our attempts to create change and forge connection. It's an emotion that we need to transform into something life-giving. Courage, love, change, compassion, and justice. Contempt. When someone is angry at you, you'll When someone is angry at you, you've still got traction with them. But when they display contempt, you've been dismissed. Pamela Meyer. When I hear the word contempt, I immediately think of two of my favorite researchers, John and Julie Gottman. John is known across the globe for more than 40 years of research on marital stability and divorce prediction. He is the author or co-author of more than 200 published academic articles and more than 40 books. Julie is a highly respected clinical psychologist and expert on marriage, domestic violence, gay and lesbian adoption, same-sex marriage, and parenting issues, who co-designed the National Clinical Training Program and Gottman Method Couples Therapy. Why do I think of them when I think of contempt? Because John describes contempt as perhaps the most corrosive force in marriage, and his research on marriage has identified contemptuous communication as a strong predictor of divorce. In fact, through a series of studies conducted in their lab, where they observed thousands of couples, John Gottman and his research partner were able to predict with over 90% accuracy which couples would eventually divorce. Contempt is one of the most damaging of the 4 negative communication patterns that predict divorce. The other 3 are criticism, defensiveness, and stonewalling. These took on the name of the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse, a term that originates from Christian mythology. Contempt, simply put, says, I'm better than you and you are lesser than me. Contempt results in distancing, ignoring, or excluding the contemptible person. They are not considered worthy of one's time or energy. This attitude seems partially attributable to the key distinguishing feature between contempt and anger, namely that contempt results when there is the perception that the contemptible person is incapable of change. But also, a person feeling contempt often wants or needs to feel better about themselves, and they do so by diminishing the person who is the object of their contempt. It's no wonder that research has shown that the contemptuous person is likely to experience feelings of low self-esteem, inadequacy, and shame. When you communicate with contempt, the results can be cruel. Treating others with disrespect and mocking them with sarcasm and condescension are forms of contempt. So are hostile humor, name-calling, mimicking, and body language such as eye-rolling and sneering. In whatever form, contempt is poisonous to a relationship because it conveys disgust and superiority.